Hello and welcome. I welcome you to Bible Knowledge in Form 3 as we proceed with the book of Isaiah. Remember, we are looking at Deutero Isaiah or Second Isaiah. That's what we are focusing on this time. So this time around, we will be looking at Cyrus as an instrument of salvation. So our focus will be on Cyrus as an instrument of salvation. Remember, the Jews are now in Babylon. There, they were saved after Babylon was defeated by Cyrus, the king of Persia. So today, we are going to look at him as an instrument sent by God to save his people. Be there, I am your teacher, W.A. Mawowa. At the end of this lesson, we should be able to focus on Cyrus himself, who was used as an instrument of salvation as we continue analyzing the work of Deutero Isaiah or Second Isaiah. And we are going to focus much on Isaiah chapter 41, chapter 44, up to chapter 45. So be there up to the end. Now, in chapter 41, verse 1 through 20, chapter 44, verse 24 through 28, chapter 45, verse 1 through 13, we find Cyrus as an instrument. But remember, we have to use this book, the Bible. So let us just look at chapter 41. Reading from verse 1. Verse 1, God says, "Be silent and listen to me, you distant lands. Get ready to present your case in court. You will have your chance to speak. Let us come together to decide who is right." Verse 2, "Who was it that brought the conqueror from the east and makes him triumphant wherever he goes? Who gives him victory over kings and nations? His words strike them down as if they were dust. His arrows scatter them like straw before the wind." That's up to verse 2. Now I'll read chapter 45. On chapter, maybe first chapter 44 from verse 24. Chapter 44 on verse 24. Here it reads, I am the Lord, your God, your Savior. I am the one who created you. I am the Lord, the creator of all things. I alone stretched out the heavens. When I made the earth, no one helped me. I make fools of fortune tellers and frustrate the predictions of astrologers. The words of the wise I refuse and show that their wisdom is foolishness. But when my servant makes prediction, when I send a messenger to reveal my plans, I make those plans and predictions come true. I tell Jerusalem that people will live there again, and the cities of Judah that they will be rebuilt. Those cities will rise from ruins. With word of command I dry up the ocean. I say to Cyrus, you are the one who will rule for me. You will do what I want you to do. You will order Jerusalem to be rebuilt and the temple foundations to be laid. So on chapter 45, you have to read there, chapter 45. So from the passages that we have read, there is a mention of Cyrus. There is a mention of the conqueror from the east, something like that. So what was God's plan in choosing Cyrus? So from the passages there, you can see to it that he was chosen to rule on behalf of God, and also to order Jerusalem to be rebuilt, also to order the temple foundations to be laid. So God chose Cyrus as an instrument to save God's people, that Jerusalem should be rebuilt, and he is going to be the leader to rule on behalf of God. Then explain the tasks of Cyrus, or why did God appoint Cyrus? Why did God appoint Cyrus? So he was chosen to be king, a Gentile ruling on behalf of God. He was also chosen to conquer nations, to help Israel, the chosen people of God, to return back to Judah, and also to order Jerusalem to be rebuilt and the temple also to be rebuilt. So we see here that the task of Cyrus was solely to help God's people, that their punishment now is over. They have to go back to their homeland and see to it that things are back to normal, back to the original, to their original days. So this is what we see as the reason why Cyrus was chosen, or his main appointments, or his main duty or task. Explain how God would help Cyrus to succeed. So how is Cyrus going to succeed? He would prepare way for Cyrus. Maybe a bit, just a bit, let me take you in chapter 45, because that's where Cyrus is more mentioned there. The Lord has chosen Cyrus to be king. He has appointed him to conquer nations. He sends him to strip kings of their power. The Lord will open the gates of cities for him. To Cyrus, the Lord says, I myself will prepare your way, leveling mountains and hills. I will break down bronze gates and smash their iron bars. I will give you treasures from dark, secret places. Then you will know that I am the Lord, and the God of Israel has called you by name. I appoint you to help my servant Israel, the people that I have chosen. I have given you great honor, although you do not know me. I am the Lord. There is no other God. I will give you the strength you need, although you do not know me. I do this so that everyone from one end of the world to the other may know that I am the Lord and that there is no other God. I create both light and darkness. I bring both blessings and disaster. I, the Lord, do all these things. I will send victory from the sky like rain. The earth will open to receive it and will blossom with freedom and justice. I, the Lord, will make this happen. That's up to verse 8. I've read up to verse 8 there. So how is God going to prepare to make Cyrus succeed? He would prepare his way. He would give Cyrus wealth to use, and also he would give Cyrus the needed strength. And also he would give Cyrus honor. He would give him great honor. Now, suggest the reasons. What could be the reasons why Cyrus might have allowed the exiles to return? We have read there that Cyrus did not know God. But how could he allow these exiles, the Jews, to go back? What could make him do that? As a way of ensuring their allegiance to him, since these Jews were in Babylon, taken by the Babylonians, not the Persians. Now the Persians this time have defeated Babylon. It means now the Jews are not the enemies of the Persians, but they were the enemies of Babylon. Therefore, for Cyrus to ensure that these Jews, they continue their allegiance to them, to the Persians, therefore he releases them, but tells them to say, remember that I am the great king who has released you. He wanted their God to protect him since he encouraged their worship. So he wanted the God of the Jews to protect him. He didn't know him. So he just took to say, all right, pray to your God that he should protect me. To promote peace, stability, and submission in his empire. So he wanted to have a peaceful empire. And also, it was out of his own kindness and generosity. So there are some people who are just good to strangers, to the people who they do not know. They are just good to everyone. So it was just out of his kindness and generosity. But why? Why did the Jews question Yahweh's decision of using Cyrus as his instrument? There are times when we question what God does. Sometimes he uses people who do not know him to assist the people who know him. So there comes the question to say, God, don't we have that ability to do? Can't you use us because we already know you? So the Jews, they question Yahweh's decision to say, God, why did you use this stranger, the one who doesn't even worship you, he doesn't even know you? Why do you use him to rescue us? Can't you just raise a powerful person amongst us and rescue us? So why? So here, maybe Yahweh had chosen a pagan as his instrument. So who can question the activities of Yahweh? He created everyone and everything. He can just decide to use anything, although that thing doesn't know him. So he can use anyone or anything at any time. Yahweh had given Cyrus a mission to rescue them, yet he was a pagan. So they question to say Yahweh uses a pagan to rescue his people. So maybe Yahweh had given Cyrus a mission. So he had given him a mission. However, the Jews, they questioned that. Yahweh had given Cyrus power through, though he was a Gentile. So God had given him power. And to continue, Yahweh had anointed Cyrus, making him a Messiah, yet he was not a Jew. So Yahweh can choose anyone at any time to do or to perform a certain mission. Yahweh had made Cyrus a shepherd, yet he was a Gentile. So he had made him a shepherd, a leader to lead his people. Cyrus was not circumcised, and Cyrus did not know God of Israel. So we are seeing here why the Jews questioned what made the Jews to question the decision of Yahweh. So these are some of the suggestions we are seeing to say they are questioning to say Cyrus was not circumcised, but why should God use him? Cyrus did not know God of Israel, but why should God use him? Relate Yahweh's response now. Yahweh's response to people's question. So when the people questioned there. The people questioned about Yahweh's decision, but Yahweh responded. How did he respond? Such questioning is not proper, just as a pot cannot question a potter or a child cannot question the parent. So God is saying, no, you cannot question me. You cannot question the potter, the one who makes pots. The pot cannot make ask the one who makes it to say, why are you making me for? No, a child cannot ask the parent. God is holy, totally different from man, hence his thoughts are not like man's. So God is a holy God. So his thoughts are different from that of man. So he can decide what to do anytime. The Creator is too great to be questioned, so God cannot be questioned. So it's like a tiny thing asking God. So we are nothing. We are just like a dust, small thing. Because God is great. Remember, we read where he says he measures the water in the ocean by the handful. He can get a handful, a handful, a handful, a handful to measure the what? The ocean. So what type of a hand can measure that? So it means God is great, unimaginable. He has chosen Cyrus to fulfill his purpose. So he has chosen Cyrus to fulfill a certain purpose, a small purpose elsewhere, like that. Describe the illustrations Yahweh uses to show that questioning him is not proper. So God uses some illustration to say, when you question me, it's not good to do that. So when you read the passage, you find the illustrations. So these are some of them. The clay pot and the potter. The clay pot does not argue with its maker. We mentioned that, we explained that to say a pot cannot ask its maker to say, why are you making me? No, he has a purpose for that. The child and its parents, he uses the illustration of a parent and child. A child does not complain to its parents why it is made in this way it is. So a child cannot always be asking a parent why it is as it is. Yeah, so those are the illustrations that we see that God uses, or Yahweh uses, to drive at the point of questioning him, to say, questioning me, it's not good at all. What are the reasons why Yahweh chose Cyrus, a Gentile, to carry out his mission? So why did God choose Cyrus? So to show his absolute freedom and authority as the creator and master of people. Number two, to show his righteousness. Yahweh's plans of salvation is for all nations. And number three, to show that Yahweh is holy. His ways are not like man's ways. So let's see it here. Let's see it here to show that him has absolute authority, and he is the master. He's the authority. He doesn't ask advice from people to do anything. And on the other hand, that's where we're saying that it's a plan to show that salvation is for all the people. Sometimes when you go to church frequently, you feel like God is for you only. No, God is for everyone, even those people who say God does not exist. Those people who question what other people are doing by going to church, Yahweh is for them as well. So here, by choosing Cyrus, it means that God was trying to show that he is the God of all nations. He is the God for all nations, and he is the creator for them all. And he created them for a purpose. We see it here. He is showing his purpose now for raising Cyrus to that great post. Then he raised him into that great post for a purpose. For a purpose of what? Of rescuing his people. And to show that he is holy, he is holy. So his ways are not like the ways of man. The task of Cyrus, the tasks that Cyrus did for the Jews on Yahweh's behalf, defeating Babylonians, the captors, or the ones who defeated the Jews, setting the Jews free, rebuilding Jerusalem. So we see here that he defeated the Babylonians, those who captured the Jews. He set the Jews free after some time they stayed in exile. He also commissioned the rebuilding of the temple. And who was this Cyrus that we're talking about? Cyrus is mentioned from the depicted from the passages that we are reading, that he is the king of Persia from the east, that is Persia, the conqueror of Babylon. So this is what we know of Cyrus. Outline the edict that Cyrus issued in favor of the exiled Jews. An edict is like a command. What was the command that Cyrus issued that favored the Jews when they were in Babylon in exile? So what command did he make? So all the Jews number one, all the Jews are allowed to return to their country. So that was in favor of the Jews. Another command or decree, edict, was the temple vessels once carried off by the Babylonians must be returned. So all the things that were captured from the temple must be returned to Jerusalem. Jerusalem and the temple must be rebuilt. Jerusalem and the temple be rebuilt. The returning Jews will receive a grant from Cyrus, and Sheshbazzar was appointed as the leader for the returning Jews. So see, he was really someone who had a kind heart to the Jews. He was really kind to the Jews. He appointed even the leader for them to say, you are the leader for these people. Go back to your country, start rebuilding the temple, start rebuilding your city, and you'll be receiving assistance from me. Like that. But how did God bless Cyrus? How was Cyrus blessed? So Cyrus, number one, God opened the gates of the cities for him so that he was just entering to conquer. He prepared a way for him and he leveled mountains and hills for him. No obstacle. During that time, Cyrus, when he just started off, today we are going to attack and defeat this country, he was going there defeating. So it was God who blessed him so that he should just be conquering them. So he opened the gates of the cities for him. He prepared a way for him. He leveled mountains and hills for him. He broke down bronze gates for him. He gave him treasures. He made him victorious, and he called him by name. So those are the blessings that God gave Cyrus. So Cyrus was indeed appointed as an instrument of salvation for the Jews because he was a Gentile, but God protected him. God cleared his way so that he does everything so that his people, God's people, should find a clear way of their release. So here we have seen now that Cyrus was indeed an instrument of salvation. Now, to this far, we have come to the end of this lesson. So if you have any question, please, you can ask. And for other materials that you can study, you can visit xulendo.org. There you'll find other materials. And for the resources that I've used in this lesson, you can also consult these references that are here. They are really good. They have additional information and good information as well. Now from me, your teacher, W.A. Mawowa. Until next time, thank you so much. Listen to the voice of substance.